What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are tackling the front brake pads and rotor replacement on the 5th generation Toyota 4Runner. I have actually covered this in the past, so this video is more of an improved, kind of revised version with some great tips, tricks, and helpful suggestions that should hopefully make the job an absolute breeze for you, so stay tuned. So after my last front brake job video, some of you guys hit the comments section and shared a number of useful, tips, tricks, and suggestions. So I took all that information, all that feedback, and I built what I think should be the ultimate front brake pad and rotor replacement guide for the 5th generation Toyota 4Runner. So in the previous video, I installed the Powerstop brake kit, but you can use this video for the OEM or any aftermarket brake pads and rotors. I will be installing the Powerstop brakes and rotors again. I am very happy with them. I've towed with them even before installing my brake controller for my trailer, and I never experienced any brake fade. I haven't experienced any warping, and the fronts have lasted many, many miles with a lot of life remaining. I am replacing mine early. When I make an announcement next month, you'll understand why I'm actually doing this early. I did notice though that the rears did wear out quite quick, but that is common on the 4Runner, even with OEM pads due to the EBD system and the fact that the rear pads are just much smaller than the front. All right, let's jump into all the stuff that you'll need to do this job, and then let's jump into the job. All right, guys, this is what I'm using today. This is the Powerstop kit, but you can use the OEM Toyota parts. I will leave links in the description and details, all the part numbers for OEM. I will leave links to where you can find this kit. The nice thing about this kit is everything comes in this kit. So this is the front Power Brake Extreme kit. It does come with the slide pins, the retaining pins. It does have brake grease with it, not enough, but it does come with some. You do get the brake pads along with the back shim here. Everything you need here to do the job with the Powerstop is nice too because these are zinc coated. They're slotted, drilled. I haven't really had issues with mud staying in here, but I don't have a lot of sticky mud where I live. But I do notice that these do handle heat pretty well. And the pads were nice because they do have stainless steel shims here on the back, so no issues there. If you want to use OEM, you'll have to kind of source out the pins, but like I said, I'll leave part numbers in the description, so you have to source out the pins, the clips, the retainers, pads, everything will be separate, but all the details will be in the description. I will also leave links to where you can find this. I got these off of Amazon, so free shipping to my house, and I did buy the front and back kit together. Yeah, let's jump into supplies, tools, and then let's do the job. All right, guys, so some supplies here to do the job. So for my brake lubricant, I went with silicone ceramic. Silicone ceramic is superior to just silicone brake lubricant. The ceramic means that it can tolerate higher heat. So I'd recommend getting this Permatex silicone ceramic. It's safe on rubber. It will lubricate all those slide pins, shims, everything, and it will tolerate the high heat that these vehicles generate, especially if you're towing or doing anything like that, heavy off-roading. So that's what I'm going with. The kit that I bought there, the Powerstop kit, comes with a bit of ceramic brake grease, but it's not enough to actually do the job from previous experience. I do have some brake cleaner here. We are going to want to clean off all of our parts. The chlorinated will clean better. The non-chlorinated won't clean as good. This stuff isn't that great for your health. This stuff's better for your health. So you can use this stuff. It will clean better. Just make sure you're in a well-ventilated area or you're using a respirator. And then you're also going to want some sandpaper or some sort of abrasive like a wire brush to clean off the surface where our rotor is going to go on to our hub. And that is so that there is no rust or anything that's uneven that will cause it not to sit properly. Some people will throw these things onto dirty, rusty old hubs and then they torque it down. Some people don't torque these properly. They'll torque one side to 120, 70 on the other, and then they'll leave debris on there. That can cause warping of your rotor. So do clean off that surface, do torque properly, and you should have no issues. All right, guys, so for tools, very basic stuff here. We have a breaker bar, a 1/2-inch ratchet, a 3/8 ratchet, a 3/8 extension, some needle nose pliers or just really any pliers, 3/8 sockets, 1/2-inch sockets, a torque wrench. We have a C-clamp here, it's a 4-inch C-clamp, or you could use some large channel lock pliers like this. Actually, I'll show you these two now, how you can use these. So here's an old caliper I'm just gonna demonstrate on. We'll need to compress the pistons in the caliper. I used to always use a C-clamp, but channel locks work as well. So what you'll do is take your old brake pad that you take off, you'll turn it this way, so the flat side's facing down. You'll slide it in, and then you'll use either your C-clamp, like this, to compress it. So you'll turn the C-clamp, or you can use a large pair of channel locks and just push down like that. Oh, some fluid shot out. There's still a little bit of brake fluid in here. But yeah, you can use these to compress that piston. Now, if you do have the proper piston compression tool, good for you, but most of us don't. So actually a large pair of channel locks is probably the easiest way to do this. I like to make my life difficult, so I'll mess around with this. And another little tool here that will make your job a lot easier are these Caliper hanging hooks. I got these off of Amazon. They were dirt cheap. I will leave a link in the description if you want to pick some of these up, but let's jump into the job. All right, so before we get started here, let's just pop this up. So there's these two clips here. You can pop this up, move this out. Gives you a little bit better access to this cap up here. And we're just gonna loosen the cap for our brake fluid fill. That way, as we push the pistons out, any excess pressure will just easily be released. All right, so we're gonna start off by loosening our front lug nuts with our vehicle on the ground. Then chock your rear tires and then jack up the front of the vehicle. With the vehicle jacked up, you can put your jack stands under the frame to support it and lower that jack. You can now start removing those lug nuts completely and removing your tires. All right, so with the wheel off, we have the caliper, we have our guides or pins here, we have our anti-rattle pin and our kind of retaining pin. So we'll start off by removing this retaining pin here. If you want, you could take a picture of this with your cell phone so you know kind of the orientation of everything, but in this video, I'll take you through everything. So you can actually push this through here or you can pull it out on the ends. The Powerstop kit did come with replacements, so I'm not too worried about bending it. So with this little clip remove, we can now start sliding out the pins. Sometimes these can get stuck on there, so you might want to use a punch and just punch from the opposite side. They can just basically rust in here. So that's why we're gonna make sure we add lubrication later, but you should just be able to pull them out. Great, so we got those. Now I would replace these because if they aren't perfect, and if you do hammer them out and they bend a little bit, your pads won't slide on the pins properly. You'll get uneven brake pad wear, dragging of the brakes, overheating brakes, not a good idea. So always replace these. All right, now we can remove this pin here or this clip. This is providing outward force. I think they call it like an anti-rattle clip. So just push out each side, and it will come loose. Now we can remove our pads. If you find they're stuck in there pretty good, we can just remove the rotor now. But yeah, not a lot of wear on these pads. I mean, they still have a lot of life left. I don't know if you can see that. But all right, so this brake line needs to move over along with the caliper. So we have to undo this 12mm bolt right here. Great, and then we'll put this off to the side because we could potentially use this bolt later. So right now that brake line is loose. All right, so we took that 12mm off, but there's also a 10mm down here. And if we take this off, it will just give us more wiggle room with this ABS sensor wire, and we won't damage anything. And then we'll pop this little bracket up, kind of clips in there. So now it's loose. Now we have a lot more wiggle room and we can move this caliper out of the way. All right, so with this length hook, I think the best place to put it is right in here, right above the bump stop. All right, now let's go ahead and get this caliper off. We'll get it hung up on here. All right, so on the back here, we have two 19mm bolts. Some 4Runners actually had 17mm bolts here, so you could be a 19. I think if you're older, you'll be a 17mm. That wasn't too bad. So I'll finish taking that 19mm bolt out. And you can kind of spin it around this way. Keep an eye on that ABS line and make sure it's not tugging. And then we can just hang it right there. And now we can easily compress these pistons and remove this rotor. All right, so we can now remove this rotor here. So I don't know if you recall, but I did mention that this little 12mm that we originally took off for the brake line, I said we could use this later. So if this rotor is seized on here and you're having trouble getting it off, you could try banging it here if you're not reusing the rotor, but this is an M8125 threaded bolt. And it has this on the OEM rotor as well. You keep threading it in, get your 12mm and start cranking on it, it will pop it loose. There's another threaded hole on this side too. So, you know, if you pop it a little bit on this side, you can move this bolt over here and start cranking it in and it will just finish popping this side off. Mine isn't seized on, so I can easily remove this. All right, so we want to make sure the surface here on this is completely clean and perfectly flat. Make sure there's nothing, no buildup or dirt or anything that's going to cause that rotor not to sit properly. All right, now let's hit it with some highly toxic brake clean. All right, so we need to compress these pistons. So we'll pop the brake pad on there and you'll have to come from the back side. And you'll know once it's completely compressed. All right, so we're now ready to put our rotor on, but first let's give it a clean. So use more of our brake clean here. All right, let's get our caliper back in place here. So take it off our hook. I'll just feed in these 19mm bolts into the back. So I'm torquing mine here to about 91 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is using the factory Toyota service manual. As you can see, that is 2016 to 2020 4Runners. Now there is some stuff on the internet that says to torque to 137 foot-pounds if they are 19mm bolt heads. I'm gonna go by the factory Toyota service manual. It doesn't hurt to put a little blue Loctite on if you're doing 91. All right, so we'll replace that little 10mm to secure this ABS line. Now in terms of torque specs, these are like 10 foot-pounds of torque. I think it's actually 9 for that one. Also known as snug. Great, and then we'll put our 12mm back in here, so we'll push this in. All right, so we're now ready to put our pads in. So one thing I wanna mention, 2 of the pads in your set there will have a feeler. Now the inside pad tends to wear more, so we'll put this one basically facing towards the engine bay, so on the inside, and then we'll have our other one on the outside there. So basically what happens is once this pad wears down, it hits this feeler, makes a squeaking sound against your rotor, and you know it's time to change your pad. So if this is on the wrong side and the inside wears more, it'll just be metal on metal contact instead of pad on metal. So just a little tip there. But yeah, let's get these lubricated and get them put on. So I'll take my ceramic brake grease, and on these back shims, we're just gonna put a little bit here, just where that piston's gonna be contacting. And just don't get any on the actual outside of the pad. That's not what we wanna do. All right, so put that back pad in. We'll put our other pad in. That one went in a little too far. And make sure that's lined up so our pins can go through. And then we have our replacements here that came with our Powerstop kit. And then we'll put our pins through. So we'll take that Powerstop high temp ceramic brake grease, lubricate it, and we'll slide these in. If you have grease on your hands, don't get it on the rotor. We do not want to get any grease on that rotor. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll lubricate this next slide pin and slide that pin from the outside to the inside. And we're going to rotate this so that that little retaining pin can slide into those little channels. And we'll slide this pin in. Start with the lower, then put it in through the upper. And then we can slide it through the center. Perfect. All right, so that is it. We are good to go. Just look over everything now, make sure everything's torqued on properly, and then we're ready to put our wheel back on. And don't forget to tighten down the cap on your brake fluid reservoir. Put your wheel back on, tighten down those lugs, drop the vehicle, and finish torquing your lugs to spec. All right, guys, you can now brake in your Powerstop brake pads if you do have the Powerstop performance brake pads. The correct break-in procedure is right here on the box. It will take you through all the different steps. If you do want to flush your brake fluid or bleed your brakes, I do have a video on that. I will leave a link below in the description. All right, guys, I hope you found this video useful, informative. I hope you learned something. If you did, please like and subscribe. I hope to come up with a lot more videos, and I do really appreciate you guys' support. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye now.